What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Wednesday real estate recap where we talk about everything to do with the housing markets. My name is Caryn Gardiner, and we have a great stream for you tonight. Home prices are starting to go down all across our country, and they're projected to go down even more in 2025. So I've got an article that we're going to look at and some data that correlates to it. So we're going to get to that. But first, I'm going to bring on a great, fantastic guest. His name is Paul Lykins. He is another real estate agent from Florida. So we're going to bring him on, and we're also going to talk about everything that's happening in Florida in the housing market there. Pre-hurricane, post-hurricane, we're going to get to it all. If you are watching this live and you have any questions at all, just put them in the chat. And if you're watching this on the replay and you have any questions or comments, put them in the comments, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. So let me bring Paul on. Hello there, Paul. How are you?
Hey, how you doing?
How's it going down there? Is it sunny Florida or is it rainy Florida?
You know what? It's rainy Florida. It was sunny. It's rainy, windy Florida, and it's been like that the past couple of days. And it's really weird because we just had hurricanes blow by, and the weather has been more windy than it was when the hurricane was blowing. But that's good. But yeah, it's just crazy. Rain, wind, rain. So we had a little bit of sunshine this morning.
Meanwhile, up here, I'm right outside of DC. It was like 84 degrees and sunny today.
Yeah, I don't know I don't know how y'all doing with that. I think you guys are ready to pull out the winter coats and the scarves and whatever, be done with summer. And I see people like, wait a minute.
It's weird. I mean, I love fall. It's like my favorite season. It's one of the reasons I moved back here from California. And I'm like, it's 85 degrees today and sunny. Like the leaves are changing, which is nice. But I want to make a fire. I want to do all that fall stuff. And it's still summer.
The stuff we don't get here in South Florida. We get summer and summer light. So I'm enjoying that. It's not 99 degrees and 100% humidity, but it has been still humid, and yeah, it's fun today. But yeah, it's hopefully it's at least starting to cool off. That's our fall.
Yeah, I know. I go to Florida. My parents live there. So my dad, they're divorced, but they both live in Boca, which I don't think is that far from you.
Yeah, that's like 15 minutes from where I live.
Yeah, because we fly into Palm Beach a lot of times. So I take the kids down there for Christmas, and the weather's like hit or miss over Christmas. Like sometimes it's nice, sometimes it's freezing. Like you just never know what you're going to get. But I imagine if you live there all year round, you might like a little cold spell once in a while.
I'm praying that you'll send some from the Northeast and down there, and please send us some cool weather because I'm ready. Like I put on jeans and a long sleeve shirt just the other days. It was cool for a little bit, and by 2:00, I was like, what am I doing? I got to get back into shorts and flip flops. It's just too hot.
Okay. Have you always lived in Florida? Are you from there?
No, I'm originally from Texas, but I've been here more of my life. I moved away, and I've been here since 1992. So I've lived a majority of my life has been here. I moved away from Texas when I was in my mid-20s. So I'm pretty much a Floridian.
And how long have you been doing real estate?
I think about almost 13 years now.
Yeah, so you're a veteran like me. This is my 22nd year, which just makes me really old. I don't know why I tell people that, because they're like, yeah, I started when I was 18, but no, I didn't. I'm just
been interesting. I got right into it right when we were coming out of the market crash, and my first transactions were, other than a few rentals, right, getting my feet wet, were short sales. So I had to learn doing short sales for people. That was real fun.
Oh my God, wasn't it awful? I started real estate when I lived in California, even though I'm from Maryland. And I moved back at the very end of 2005, right? So it was changing a little bit. It was still really hot here, just like it was in California. Then 2008 happened, and it was like drastic. Everything changed around here. And we're right outside of DC. I'm licensed in DC, Maryland, and Northern Virginia, and all of Virginia, but only will go to Northern Virginia. And so we usually aren't affected as much as the rest of the country because of our location, but not then. Everything was it was awful.
Must have been scary times. Well, I think as you and I were kind of talking, the market's kind of doing a change right now as you and I speak.
Yeah, it is. So let me bring up this article.
Sure.
It's by one of my favorite data collectors, Lance Lambert. I think he's brilliant. And he actually has his own company now called Resi Club. But this is something he wrote for Fast Company. And what's today? So it was written 2 days ago. Housing market shift. Can you see that okay? Yeah.
Yeah.
6 major markets where home prices are actually falling. All right. So I'm going to just skip down to here. Housing markets, including Southern California, the Northeast, and the Midwest, where there is low active housing inventory and prices are still up a solid amount year over year, are pretty much done posting gains for the 2024 calendar year. However, month over month price growth is likely to return in those places come spring 2025. On the other side, some regional housing markets in states such as Texas, Florida, and Louisiana, where inventory has risen above pre-pandemic 2019 levels, are experiencing mild home price corrections. Many of these markets in correction mode were showing very low or flat price increases during the seasonally strong spring and summer months. However, now this period has passed, some Southwest and Southeast markets are starting to post price declines. So then he lists among the nation's 50 largest metro area housing markets, these 6 have seen outright year-over-year home price declines over the past 12 months. And we're going to look at these, but he also has these maps, these interactive maps that go with his data, which are super cool because then we can look up our areas as well. So he's got New Orleans down 4%, Austin down 4%, San Antonio down 2.7%, Tampa, Florida down 0.5%, Jacksonville, Florida down 0.3%, and Dallas, Texas down 0.3%. And then he goes on to list all these other areas. But I thought it would be fun to kind of see how his math, how he's getting it. So I'm going to stop this one. I have to go back and forth because I don't know how to just go flip from one to the other. So bear with me.
I was reading an article, I think one of the articles that we get from the Florida Realtors, and it was talking about, it was somewhere, I was doing some research where I read it, but it was talking about a homeowner in the Tampa area around over there. And, you know, he came down here, he's looking to move to Florida. It's his dream place. He bought his house, you know, put $500,000 down, put more money into it. And he hasn't had a single offer in 8 months.
Yeah.
I mean, not even much an offer, but he said he's barely had any showings on the property. And I will tell you that I've got listings in my market right here where I have one particular house. We've had 2 showings on it in 4 months, and we've boosted, we've marketed, we've done everything. Wow. And it wasn't just ours. I reached out to another realtor, and she said, yeah, in the neighborhood, her listing actually finally expired, which she never got that sold, but she said it was the same thing, and she lived in the neighborhood. And she goes,
4 months? So is that your average days on market now?
No, but it was, I mean, the average days on market, or I actually just pulled that up. I just had that when you and I were talking. We just got the latest report. The medium days to contract right now is from 24 days in last year for single family, it's up to 42 days.
Wow.
So, and for condos, it's went from 33 to 54. But I'm seeing homes after homes that have been on the market for 150. I've seen some properties on the market for a year. It's crazy. Like, it just,
well, let's take a look at these charts because I think they're pretty cool. I mean, so I just brought up where I am because the way that he does this, like I said, he's a great data collector, and it can kind of show you what you're going to see in the future, right? If you look at his data. So this is where I am, and then I'll pull up where you are. So this is just the active housing inventory, which he thinks is the greatest metric to predict the future of home prices. And I kind of agree with him, you know, unless you put in like a pandemic or something, you know, it should be, it should correlate. So this is where I am. If you look at like pre-pandemic, so 2019, 15,412, right? And then now where I am, 9,798. So it's pretty
That's
obvious.
The number of homes that are available?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Active listings for sale.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's all active. Yeah. So it's pretty obvious why where I am is still pretty much a seller's market because we still aren't anywhere near pre-pandemic inventory. It got a little bit more inventory in 2021, but then went way down. And now we're sitting at 97, 98 as of September. So it's pretty current. And then if you look at, so this is the last 5 years. And then the next one, actually, let's look at yours while we're in this one.
Yeah, I've got some numbers for you right here, just in my county.
So so they have Miami. Is that near? I mean, Miami's not far from you, but I don't think they actually have Palm Beach.
Yeah, Port St. Lucie. They should have Palm Beach. It should be right over there, more to the right where you're at. If you keep going, so keep going and go down a little.
Palm Bay? Or no,
down where you saw like Port. Now go down again. Keep going, or to your right a little.
That's Miami.
Okay, so it's doing the Miami. So just do that one. I mean, that's Pompano Beach. It's somewhere above that. I guess they didn't have it. It's interesting they don't have a
Yeah.
bubble. But that's
There
the
is a
Miami Fort
county one
Lauderdale.
that I could pull up. The county one might have it.
That's okay.
Yeah. So anyways, so this one, I mean, it's not that far from you, but you can see pre-pandemic, you had 45,000. Here's 2019, 49. And then it went way low in 2022 to like half of that.
Right. And now look where it's at.
And now it's up to 40, but it's still not higher
It's not
than pre-pandemic.
but like last year. So looking at this month compared to last month, September of this year to last year for my county, single family homes, it had 3,765 homes, and now there's 5,422. And on condos, it doubled. It went from 3,763 homes available to 6,604.
Oh my
It's a
God.
100% increase on condos. Condos right now, the condo market in South Florida right now is ridiculous.
So here's the year over year. This is the home prices. So this is the home prices from September 2023 to September 2024. This is still Miami because I think that's the closest he gets to you. So for the 5-year change, up 65.2%.
Yeah, Miami is still strong. One of the articles I was talking about Florida and the homes, Miami is still getting a big influx from a lot of Latin American buyers, and there's a lot of job growth and a lot of corporations. There's been a lot of banking institutes. There's a lot of IT companies moving to Miami. It's a very different. Miami's 75 miles south of me, so it's a totally different market. But they do have some money coming into that area, and they have
There's a lot of money in Miami.
a lot of luxury condos are being built. So, and they're building, and they have skyscrapers going all over the place.
Well, let's look at where the housing market is. New Orleans is down 4%. So let's see. New Orleans is here. Oh, sorry. So 1-year change down 4%. 2-year change down 12.4%. Damn. Shift since the local 2022 peak down 14.4%. That's home prices in New Orleans. These are all the ones in orange and the ones I think that he pointed out. Let's see what their inventory is. Let me get to the inventory one.
Yeah, I think when I was before I came on with you, I was showing you there was a little thing that I got sent from a friend. It says Palm Beach County home sales are down 15% last month.
Wow. Is that, and are you feeling that?
Yeah, very much. Everyone is. Title companies, everybody is feeling it right now in Palm Beach County.
All right, I'm going to talk about Florida. So let me just look at this one last thing. So this is the New Orleans active housing inventory. So their inventory pre-pandemic 4649, and then 2020 5263.
Wow.
So they have a lot more inventory than they did pre-pandemic. Look how low it got in 2020. And 2021, 2382.
Yeah, I remember those
more
days.
than doubled.
Yeah, the homes would go on the market and it would go on literally an hour. It was insane.
Wow. So if anybody that's watching this, we got some people on live, wants me to see if your area is on one of these interactive maps, just put your area in the chat and I'll see if he's done the data for it, because they're all interactive, as you can see. And then
I know you sent me that link. I'm going to go check that out. That's very cool.
It is. It's wild because when I hear like, Austin and, all these places where, and I always want to know, how are they getting their data, or how does it affect where I live? Because, we all really care about where we live. Don't get me wrong. I care about the rest of the country, but I was always curious what's happening in my market.
Your
and
market.
just to see the data and how it correlates between inventory and home prices. So then you can kind of project what's going to happen in the future. I find really relevant, So if anybody, like I said, if you're live and you want us to look up your area, put it on here. And if you're watching this in the replay, let me see something. I believe that seeing cranes equals good economy, like Paul cited for Miami. Yeah, because there's building. Is there a lot of building going on there where you are?
In Miami or in my area? Yes, it's funny because I just said how condo sales right now for older buildings, right? Because of a lot of the assessments and that, but new luxury condos are popping up all over Palm Beach County. It's crazy. In Miami, I mean, every time you go to Miami, the skyline changes. There's so much going up there. And I mean, I'm talking New York, Chicago style high rises, like
Wow.
80, 90-story buildings going up. It's insane what's happening down there. They're doing a whole world center, which is a huge project that they'll be doing, I think, until 2030. Miami's but they have a lot of that money coming in. One of our biggest foreign buyers has always been Canada, right? They're one of the biggest investors. But behind that now is Colombia. Colombia is the second largest foreign investor in South Florida. There's so much money that they're dumping into South Florida. It's insane.
So they're building condos, not apartments, right?
They're building a lot of condos. There's probably some apartments too, but I know a lot of the buildings they're doing are high-rise, luxury, very high-end.
And are they selling?
Yeah. I mean, they're yes, it's crazy. They're selling these buildings down there. It's unreal. And even the ones here in West Palm Beach, where I've done some videos, there's the people up there are buying right across from the island of Palm Beach, and those condo buildings are selling, and those are starting at like $4 million a piece.
Oh my God. So I feel like that's not, that's not
I know it's
going to be relevant to like what's happening in the general housing market, because that's just so much money. That's a cash buyer, probably completely different,
It is.
All right, let me see. Can you show Lee County, Alabama? I don't have the county map up. I have the metro areas. Where is that in Alabama? Linda, can you tell me where in Alabama that is? And then I'll have to find it.
The closest big city, I guess.
Let me bring up this. I wish I could just go from one screen to the next. All right, this is housing inventory. Okay, so we got, where am I going here? Alabama. This is not helping. Where's Alabama? Where is Alabama? Help me.
Okay, so Lee County would have, I just looked it up. You could look up Auburn, I think, is in Lee County. Maybe Columbus is right on the border. So those are two metropolitan cities you may find, Auburn or Columbus.
Tuscaloosa, Lee County, Pensacola. Where did you say?
For Alabama, Auburn.
Yeah.
Auburn's, I don't know how big Auburn is, but that's when I looked up here for Lee County, the biggest city I could see is Auburn.
I know, but I can't. I have to just click on every dot.
It doesn't let you, yeah.
No, to see which one they are.
Oh, there it is. It is.
Did I pass it?
Yeah.
Huh? How about Montgomery, Alabama?
Montgomery is outside of Lee County. It's to the west of it. So you would have to go like towards your area, northeast. Well, what was that? Was that before Alexander? Was that Auburn?
Now she said Harris County, Georgia. All right, we got to go to Georgia here.
We're learning geography today, folks.
All right, but I still don't know. Could you have the metro area in Georgia instead of the county? Because this isn't the. I had the county map up before, and I took it away because I thought this would be. All right, let me see if I can find that other county one, and I'll bring it back up. So let me do that on the down low. Outside Columbus, Georgia. Yeah, I'm just going blind here.
County, I don't think we're going to find Harris County on there, Caryn, because there's they seem like smaller cities like Hamilton.
Really small.
Yeah, Catalina, Waverly, Halton. I don't see any big metropolitan areas in there.
This is probably the biggest, the Atlanta area. I don't know if that is near where you're near Lee County, but if we just look at Atlanta, Sandy Springs, you can see here that their inventory pre-pandemic was 30,000 and change, and now is 23 and change. So they probably are still doing pretty well with prices. Midland. Oh, we got a doggy. All right, let me see if I can bring up the county one.
Go on, go.
What kind of dog do you have?
I have two dogs.
What kind of dog?
One's a German Shepherd. One's a Lab Shepherd mix, or first rescue, and the other one is a Husky Australian Shepherd mix. So, and they're both 60-pound big babies. They're my daughters.
I have a tiny little poodle. All right, I can't bring the county one up, unfortunately, but I can show you this part of Georgia. And let me see if this helps. Okay. So we've got the Macon Bibb County. Oh, did I bring up the counties? Did I do it? No. Georgia, is that near where you are? That's Midland. That seems to be pretty Midland. Columbus, Georgia. I'm sorry, Linda. I'm just gonna.
She said that's 15 minutes from Columbus. Midland is 15 minutes from Columbus, so that might be good.
I know, but then that means I have to find Columbus. I found everything else. Athens? How about Athens, Georgia? You know what? I'm going to look it up for you, and I will get back to you. But I can't. Silver Spring, Maryland. I can tell you that without even looking. Silver Spring, Maryland. Sorry, Linda. I will get back to you. I got to bring up that county one. So what's happening here? That's where I'm in Montgomery County. It's really weird. I can't give you a blanket answer on what's happening because literally it's like house by house. You could have two houses in the same neighborhood, and if one shows well and is priced well, and the other one maybe just not as well, or just one less bedroom or priced a little bit higher, one will sell with multiple offers still now, like this week, and the other one will sit week after week. So it really depends on, oh, wait, I'm getting more Georgia stuff. It really depends on the house, to be honest, here. And we had our office meeting yesterday, and somebody was saying they just sold their listing in Silver Spring, Maryland, $60,000 over asking in 3 days, 6 offers. And this is now. And then I've got another friend who's got a house in Potomac, a listing, and he can't sell it. He's like, what's happening? And one sold down the street in multiple offers. It's house by house here. There's like no rhyme or reason for it.
I think you hit the nail on the head with what you said, though. Buyers have so much that, first of all, buyers are burnout. Buyers are burnout from what they went through. They have buyer burnout. And the ones who are actively looking right now, they have options because there's more inventory. So they can be a little picky. And if the house doesn't have exactly what they want, they'll pass on it. And we've seen that. That's what I've been seeing. If it's a house that has a newer roof, especially in Florida, impact windows, maybe needs a little touch up, but those big ticket items are taken care of, they're selling because people are like, okay, I don't have to worry about windows. I don't have to worry about that. I know I'm going to get a lower insurance rate because I qualify for all the discounts. Yeah, it may need to update the kitchen, but we can live with that. As opposed to one with a 15, 20-year-old roof, it sits. It doesn't matter what the price because they know even if they get it, they're going to have to deal with the roof probably, if not that year, very quickly thereafter.
You know, you brought up something I actually want to talk to you about because Florida, I know, is having a really hard time with home insurance, that the rates are just skyrocketing. Before the hurricane, they were already going up, but now I can imagine that they're incredible. I mean, I know that's true because my mom, unfortunately, my stepfather passed away 2 years ago, and we had to retitle the house into her name, and I had to get new home insurance for her in Florida. And I couldn't do it. I mean, I finally did, but it was so hard calling all these different companies and nobody wanted to insure in Florida anymore. I mean, do you see that a lot?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's when you're working with buyers and you're going out looking and you look at the roof, if the roof's too old, I mean, I'll tell them, listen, we might just want to keep looking because this might be the right house, but if you can't get an insurance policy and you're financing, you're not going to get this deal done, right? So, or the insurance is going to be so high, it's going to mess up your debt to income and it's going to push you out of this house. Your lender's going to say no. So it's a conversation you have to have with them and really do your homework and research the house that you're going to take them to, so you don't get someone really excited and then they find out the roof's 20 plus years old. I mean, they're looking at roofs now. If it's a comp shingle roof, which is good for about 25 years, the insurance doesn't want to see one that's more than 15 years old. So it doesn't matter what the roof companies that used to sell you these 40-year roofs, insurance companies don't care. That's great. That's what the roof may say that. The insurance companies don't care. They'll give it 20, 25.
So maybe this sounds me, but couldn't the person who's living there, the seller, their home insurance, couldn't the new buyer use that same company? They're already insuring the house.
They still have to get a 4-point wind mitigation done. They have to look at that and see what the life expectancy is left in it. And in some cases, we had that with a townhouse that I was selling, and the insurer was not writing new policies. They kept the people they had. They were not accepting any new policies. We tried to go that route. and so they had to go find an insurance company. And the deal almost died. Luckily, the agent was very thorough, and they spent the whole day, and the buyer spent the whole day, and they found someone, and it was a little more, but it was doable, and they were able to secure. Otherwise, the deal would have fell. And again, that was one of my properties that was sitting for months before it finally got an offer, just because the HOA on it was kind of high.
That's so crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
so here, I don't know if it's the same there, but here in where I am in the DC area, when you write an offer per the contract, you have 7 days to kind of do your due diligence and find out if the house can be insured, to get your, a home insurance quote. You don't have to commit to one, but you have to at least inquire.
Mhm.
How did they do that there? If you're looking at houses and you're not even sure if you can get home insurance, how do you write a contract and know if you're going to get, I mean, how does it work?
Well, I mean, when we write it, same thing. We have 0 to 15 days, but no one's going to ever accept 15 days on a contract. No listing agent will. They'll chop it down to 10 because no one wants their house off the market for 2 weeks while the buyer makes their mind up, right? So, although the market is changing and buyers are, used to be 5. We saw 5 days. We saw through the market, some even less than that. But now you're seeing 10 again because they know it's like, hey, we'll give you 10 days, no problem. Please put an offer on my house. But you try to knock that inspection out right away. That's one of the things I tell the buyers that are working with me is like, hey, listen, I know some good home inspectors. Reach out to them, choose one, get them in real quick so we get that report and we get that inspection done. So then they have that to take to an insurance company, and I'll tell them use whoever you want, or here's some insurance companies I recommend. But I try to get that done in that 10-day period so that we know and we're not wasting any more time.
Yeah.
But I also try to talk to the agent. I would call you and say, hey, what's the likelihood of getting insurance on this property before you can submit a bid? And some agents will know, and some sellers will say, here's my insurance company. But until they get that report, the insurance company, you're not going to get a final answer until they see what they're looking for, which is how much life is left in that roof. It's a serious problem, and it's affecting a lot of people, and a lot of people that own down here are just being self-insured.
Can you do that?
If they're not on finance, but I mean, if they
Right.
own it, yeah. And
Yeah.
there's not and if there's no rule, some HOAs actually have a rule that says you have to have insurance. So we saw something that I was talking to someone about the other day. I wasn't even aware of that until I talked to, and he said some places you have to have an insurance policy, so you can't self-insure.
Yeah. I mean, I can imagine, like you said, if you own it outright, you can do what you want. But if there's a loan on the house, or if you're using a lender, like there's no
Oh
way.
yeah, no, you
You're
have
gonna,
to. Yeah,
but here,
well,
what I'm saying is like the time period for the 7 days I talked about, that's not a contingency. That's just like in the contract, like, by the way, you should look into home insurance within the first 7 days. No one's
oh,
going to
it's not a
check.
contingency on
No, no,
yours.
no,
So,
no, no.
oh,
No one
so
will
ours,
check to see if you've done it or not. It could, if you do a home inspection contingency, that's separate. But this home insurance is just like a, by the way, this is what you're supposed to do. Your real estate agent should tell you that, but it's not a contingency.
gotcha. Yeah, no, I mean, you have a finance contingency, and if you're financing a house and your insurance is, I mean, I'm not a mortgage expert, but I've been told that if they get a quote and it's just so high, if the insurance quote comes back at like 10,000 and it's more, it messes up their debt to income, they're gonna default the loan, right? Or not default it, but they're gonna say, hey, you're not approved. The loan, you're out of your area, and the loan
Right.
fails because of that. So then they're gonna be able to still get out of the deal because again, there's always situations where people try to sue. But if it's a finance contingency and the lender says, hey, we can't approve the loan because their
Right.
DTI it kills the deal, they're not
Right.
going to do it. But I always try to make sure, again, being respectful of other agents, I try to make sure, hey guys, let's look at this, let's check this road out. We got 10 days, let's knock this out, let's not go down that road. Because that's just going to be a stress on everyone, and it's not fair to the seller. You've wasted all that time. I try to be a good agent.
Of course.
You're
Yeah.
working with people in your field. You don't want them to go, well, thanks, Paul, you're an idiot. But it's just hard because you just don't know until you get that inspection done. And
So you
then
have to give your inspection reports to the insurance companies.
you
That
have
part
to
of
give
them.
the wind mitigation report. You don't have to give the whole inspection report.
Okay.
Yeah, you
Wow.
don't give them the whole inspection report. You give them the wind mitigation, and they look at that, and they look at what the report is, and they look at that and say, okay, so they
Yeah. I
decide
think
if
I
it's got
remember that
life left
now.
into it, and then they'll
Yeah.
tell you, and then they give you the policy and get you the quotes. And for a lot of people, the last resort is Citizens, which is the state pool insurance, and that's the last. And with these hurricanes that you said, like with these hurricanes that just hit, are more
Mm.
companies going to be pulling out of Florida? That's a big concern. We haven't even, it hasn't even, they're right now assessing all the damage still from what just happened. Even here in Palm Beach County, we got hit by tornadoes, which was unheard of. We've never had
Crazy.
EF3 tornadoes ever hit, ever. And there was 19 reported that day.
Wow.
Crazy. So, or 9 or something. And in the other county, maybe it was 19, but there was a bunch of them. And I've lived here 30 years and we've never been concerned about that.
Well, I know that like farmers pulled out of Florida last year. That was like a big deal. It was like the biggest national company that was like, later, I'm done with this. And like I said, I went through this 2 years ago, and I kind of remember now this wind mitigation thing because I was like, the same owner. I'm like, he just passed away, sadly, but like my mom still lives
Yeah.
there. Like, why do we need all this new insurance stuff? And it was just crazy. Like, I can't imagine what you guys were dealing with. And now that was before any hurricanes or tornadoes. Like now it's got to
Yeah.
be so much harder.
It's definitely, yeah. It's interesting being a realtor in Florida right now. It's like you even, I mean, even with Get a Cash Buyer, do you really want your customer to not insure their property for, you know?
Especially after you see what just happened. So
Yeah.
Proud Liberal says, what a shame to tear off a good roof just because of a wacky insurance company.
Yeah, it's just a nightmare what's happening with it. And of course then you have sellers that are like, my roof's fine, it's never had a problem, and that becomes a whole separate issue. You're like, well, we can't move on because we can't get insurance. So yeah.
Right. And then also, like, I mean, the prices, like, even if you can, like, do your buyers, when you work with them, do they understand how high it's going to be, or are they shocked?
So I work with a lot of people because, like you, I'm a fellow YouTuber. I work with a lot of people who come here from out of state, and the first thing we talk about
Mhm.
are property taxes and insurance. I tell them, guys, don't look at what they're paying on their property tax. They bought that house 15 years ago.
Right.
That's their tax. You're going to pay a lot more than that. Realize that, and the insurance quotes. So they will start talking to people and asking people, hey, what are you paying for insurance? And we try to ask the other agent, hey, what are you paying for insurance? And even that doesn't mean anything because they may have just whatever, they got it for whatever, and then now they get another quote. Like I said, the one company wouldn't write new policies. They wouldn't let
Right.
the buyer buy, so there wasn't an option. They had to find another company. Um,
You know,
so yeah,
I'm surprised it's not like a requirement for sellers to have to disclose their insurance costs. Here in where I'm in Montgomery County, Maryland, we now have a utility disclosure that sellers have to provide, which shows their cost of their utilities. Like,
wow,
I'm surprised that, and if they don't do it, like nothing really happens, but you're supposed to per the contract. I'm surprised they don't
wow.
have that in Florida for insurance because it really is a number that buyers need to know.
Yeah, I mean, you can call Florida Power and Lighting, FP&L, what they call down here. I think you can call them and say, hey, if I look, what I don't, I
No, I
think
don't mean
I've never
utilities.
done.
I mean insurance. I mean home insurance
Yeah. Oh,
for
insurance.
you
But you
guys.
said, but they have something for utilities, though,
For
right?
us, it's utilities, yeah, because we don't have
Yeah,
the
yeah.
same
But the
issues like
utilities one would be
Florida.
interesting to know.
Yeah,
Like that, I think you can just call a local company and they may say what the average is for that house. They might not say specific, but I think down here they can get an average idea. But that question, that comes up all the time. Hey, Paul, I had it today. Hey, what is their utility bill? I'm like, I
yeah,
don't know.
I
Let
do
me,
too.
but
Yeah.
so
Fortunately,
yeah,
yeah, they have to do that here. So you have a column of electric, column of gas if you have oil, and you have to put all the previous 12 months, and you have to have it as part of your seller disclosures to the buyer. But I always say, even to my buyers, like, this is a family of 4, you're a family of 2. This family may like their house warm or cold. You may, I mean, this is just a guideline to let you know approximately, but it's not going to be exact. Obviously,
yeah,
people live differently. But
yeah.
I'm just surprised that Florida doesn't have something like that when it comes to home insurance, because it can be such a big number. And even
They
though it's
don't.
different, it still gives them an idea, you know?
They don't yet. What they did have that just came out is a new document that the sellers have to provide that talks about flood insurance, and you have to disclose
Mm,
if you've ever had a flood, if you ever filed a claim because of a flood, and if you ever had federal assistance. So you have to. That's a new one that's come out, and they're making that so more buyers are aware of flood insurance and the importance of it. Obviously, you've seen what happened in North Carolina. Less than 2% of the people had flood insurance because those poor people didn't even think
I
that would ever
know.
happen. Same thing in Florida. A lot of the people weren't prepared and they didn't have flood insurance. So that's so you've seen that happen quite a bit now.
Sleep and Dream
But
says it's like a doctor not taking new patients. You're not wrong.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's not good. I mean, I look. You just try to you work with what you got, and you tell the people that are working, let's find the best thing we can. But it certainly doesn't make any realtor's job easy down here with that situation. And hopefully things will get better. And I don't know. The hurricane certainly didn't help though.
Yeah. Now I know that you've had some pretty crazy viral videos when it comes to HOAs and condos and stuff like that. So I definitely want to pick your brain, because this is before the hurricanes hit. Besides the high insurance costs, it sounds like HOA fees and condo fees are going through the roof in Florida. Is that correct?
Yeah, and it's funny. I meant to say when you're talking about that, I just saw something in an article. So they said that Or again, this is over a period of time, and I don't know what time, but insurance prices have gone up 400%.
400
400.
since when?
400%. So I don't know the exact time from that, but
Oh,
if you start going from when this started, the insurance started going back, they went, and I don't know if it was maybe from 2019, but the insurance prices have gone up insanely high. Um,
yeah. Actually, I saw that as well. I was just looking at
yeah,
the same thing. Yeah, it says
I've
nearly
had
20% of Floridians do not have home insurance, as insurance costs have surged up to 400% in recent years. This is double than the national average.
wow, yeah.
In
So
fact, according to Insurify, Florida homeowners pay the highest rates in the country with an average annual cost of $11,759 in 2024. $11,759 for home insurance?
it's insanity. It is insanity. When we talk to people, there, yeah, there was I think there was another article, and it's something that I'll probably do, was talking about how many people are packing it up and saying that's it. They, I talked about those luxury condos, and you're right. That's the people who can afford that. Now, I see the comment that's up right now, and I will
Yeah,
say that I have lived here for 30 plus years, and I've had one minor little window crack from a storm. So we've been
right.
lucky.
Yeah.
But I also don't live right by the water, but we didn't have to. The tornadoes that just came through hit out west. It was nowhere near that was just totally unexpected, but that was a rarity. Again, the weather people said they've never in their entire career, 40 years of doing weather, they've never seen that. But yeah, I mean,
And by the
you
way,
know,
if you're just listening to this, the comment is, I'm never moving to Florida or California. Too much risk for weather, earthquakes, etc. And I used to live in California. I lived in Los Angeles for 9 years, and they definitely have earthquakes out there. We felt a few for sure, but there's also so many benefits, just like there are in Florida. I mean, we're just talking about this negative stuff because we're talking about the housing market, and this is relevant right now. But obviously, a lot of people live there for a reason. A lot of people start moving there for a reason. I mean, you got great taxes, you got great, weather, all the water stuff. You got a lot of great stuff in Florida.
well, let me ask you that. That's kind of a question that comes up. So you lived in California. They do have
Did.
earthquakes. They have
Yeah.
landslides.
Yeah.
How is insurance in California? I mean, and people are like, well, people are saying like Florida's this disaster place. But guys, there have been landslides in California since I was a kid, and there's been earthquakes. I remember the earthquakes in Oakland and stuff as a child and seeing the news. So how did they do it? Like, what is insurance like in
I
California?
don't remember it being an issue, to be honest. I was in Los Angeles and we did own our house. But I don't remember. And I was also a real estate agent in California for the last 2 out of 9 years I lived there. I don't remember. I mean, it's a while. I've been back 18 years, so my memory's
Yeah.
not great, but I don't remember it being like a big topic, as far as home
Wow.
insurance and earthquakes and all that stuff. I mean, the joke was in California, we have four seasons, earthquakes, fires, floods, and riots, or something like that. It was like something like that people like to say, but I just don't remember it being a big topic when it came to real
Yeah.
estate, not like it is now and not like what's happening in Florida. I got something here that says since 2003, 41 Florida insurance companies have declared bankruptcy or have failed, according to Reuters.
Wow.
To put that in perspective, that's more than the rest of the country combined during the same period.
Yeah.
That's
It's
crazy.
I mean, yeah, it's
I mean, it's already expensive enough to buy a house. I mean, I know that your market was going crazy, in 2021 and
oh,
2022 because everyone wanted to move to Florida and Texas and all these markets. And your home prices probably escalated, enormously. Then you tack on the home insurance and HOA fees and everything else. I mean, it's got to be really, really unaffordable at this point.
that's someone said we're the one of the someone left a comment on one of my videos, and it said we're now the new California and New York, when they talk about prices.
Right.
Or Hawaii, actually, something said like that. It's like because it's so expensive and it's like crazy. I mean, there's still some places. I mean, I'm dealing with a buyer from California who's actually doing a 1031 exchange, and they're going to sell their family property in part of California. They're looking here. I did find them a brand new townhome, brand new, for under $500,000 with a garage and everything. And it's down in Pompano, which is south of Boca a little bit. So
Mhm.
there are still, and the HOA was reasonable, it was 145. So there are
Okay.
still
And they
things
got
that
home insurance. The home insurance was
are,
okay
well,
there.
that we don't know yet. It's brand new, so it's going to have a brand new roof and impact windows. So
Right.
hopefully they'll
That's good.
get, and it's not right by the water. So, but yeah.
God, you know, how is the market down there as far as like sales? Are you seeing it slow down like
Oh,
everywhere else?
sorry, I had something in my eye. Yes, it is
Good.
definitely slowed down. The condo sales right now are Man, I feel bad for condos people right now. I mean, unless it's again a super nice condo, and like we had one, my broker and I had a property that was just totally renovated, right?
Yeah.
And the building did their milestone inspection, which is the inspection that everyone has to have that has a building that's 30 years or older and 3 stories or taller. They have to have this milestone inspection done, and they look at it and the structural integrity of the building and all that. This building had all that done. The reserves are good, they're solid, they have a great management, and the property is renovated. And we had it on for less than a month, and we got an offer, so it was great. Other ones are just sitting and they're not
Right.
moving because I just was talking to that same California buyer, and I said, "Oh, that building has an assessment, and the assessment's running through 2025, and there's like still another $15,000 left on it." So, and they're like, "Oh, well, I don't want to deal with any of that," and that's cheap. Some of these assessments that are hitting these people are $150,000 on their condos. And you got to remember, some of these people bought these condos years ago at a really really low price. They're on a fixed income, then they're retired now,
Right.
and then they get hit with a $150,000 assessment. They do not have the money to pay that. No, no, they don't. And so, if they don't pay it and they need the work done, one of two things are going to happen. They're going to get a lien and foreclosed on, or they're going to get hit by investors, which is happening, who are going to come in and look to buy the condo building for pennies on the dollar, try to buy them out, and then level it and then build another one of these huge luxury properties. And that's happening all over
So are
South.
you seeing a lot of foreclosures?
I did a video on it. There's not as many. It's kind of funny. I did a video, and my friend called me and goes, "Paul, I talked to a real estate guy. It's not as bad as you said it was." And it's like they have gone up. They've gone up in Palm Beach County, not as much, but there are some
Mhm.
foreclosures, and there are a lot of people who bought at the height of the market. And I've seen a lot of properties lately where they were for sale by owner, and I looked at when they bought it, which would have been like just the beginning of this year, and what they paid for it and what they're trying to sell it for, and it's sitting. And I know why they're not hiring one of you and I, because right, they don't want to pay that commission, and
Right.
these units they're just sitting and they're not selling. So, and I saw a bunch of those. So I think a lot of people bought and they bit off more they can chew, and I just don't think it's hit yet. I think there's still some time for these to pop up, but there were more foreclosures in July in Palm Beach County than we've seen in a long time.
Yeah, I just pulled this up. As of July 2024, more than 2,300 foreclosure starts were recorded across the state, particularly in cities like Jacksonville and Orlando.
Hmm.
Um, and I do think you're right, because you think, well, prices have gone up so much. Like, why would they get foreclosed on? They have equity. They'll just sell their home. But if people can't pay their mortgage and they can't pay their bills, they're not really thinking that clearly. They're just like, I can't pay it. And then they're not paying it. And then all of a sudden there's a lien on the property, like you said. And all of a sudden the bank's foreclosing, even if maybe you had equity in it. You're just not thinking straight. Or maybe they had equity, but now prices are going down. You got the hurricane that's hit. Maybe it'd be hard for someone to get home insurance if they have to buy it. There's just a lot of other factors that come into play. There's the closing costs. There's the real estate fees. It's not just as simple as like, but wait, home prices went up. You have equity. It's not always that easy,
It's
and
not, and that's a great comment you said, because I did say that this is the big difference between now and what happened in 05 or 08, is that they do have equity. So some of them could, but I think a lot of people panic. They don't make it.
Mhm.
They stop. They don't make their payment. They stick their head in the sand, right?
Right.
And they don't do anything, and then it becomes too late, and then by that time they're getting foreclosed on. Where if they'd reached out and said, "Hey, listen, it's not the perfect scenario, but look, we can sell your house. You can still walk away with a nest egg. Maybe buy yourself a little condo or a townhouse or rent, but don't go foreclosure." But again, it's people don't always know who to reach out to and get that
Yeah.
advice. So
Also, if it takes a long time, like you said, days on market are growing, where you are. And, I actually have a client who's moving up here, and they're retired and they're moving up. Believe me, if they're leaving Florida and moving here. I know it doesn't make a lot of sense, but they are.
it's
And
happening more and more.
and her real estate agent called me and said, I'm trying to time when to list, her house. What's the market like where she's looking up there? And I said, well, if it's a good house, it's selling quickly in multiple offers. She's like, oh. I'm like, why? And she's like, well, here, it's going to take at least, 60 days at least, for it to even get a contract, and then it's got to sell. So we're looking at 3 or 4 months. And I was like, wow, is there any way you could, buy, the way your client can buy first and then sell? Because that's going to be really hard to time, to sell that first and then find something here that's going quickly. Like, our markets are just not at all matching, and
Mm-mm.
it's going to be really, really challenging for them to do that.
Yeah, I've heard that from talking with some of our other friends who work up in the Northeast, and some of the homes there do. They're selling still. It's crazy. Yeah, down here, I think it's just there were so many people moved here, so many people bought. There was such an influx, and yet they still think people are still coming to Florida. But it's interesting. It's funny as they say we're supposed to increase again, and by so many millions of people moving here over the next decade. But I'm like, where are they going to live? Like, what are they going to buy? Because like,
Well, maybe that new
something's got to
construction.
happen.
Yeah, maybe if
Yeah.
there's a lot of building going on, but it sounds like the building that's going on is really expensive.
Yeah,
Is it
yeah,
all, do they do lower income new construction there, or is it all just high end? I mean,
I've
it can't be all
never
high end, but
seen any, at least I haven't gone out and looked lately. I used to do quite a few tours that I haven't looked in the past, say 4 months, but you really don't find, like, if you're talking like 3, 4, I mean, like I said, I was shocked at the price at the townhomes that are down there that were like 4, and when they
Mhm.
say 460, you're really like a 5 when you get done with everything, right?
Right, because
But
you're customizing it.
but I mean, nothing under I haven't seen anything brand new under 450. Again, I don't know the whole market. I don't know
Right.
every new
Of
construction,
course, yeah.
but new construction homes, I mean, yeah, it's there. You're easily looking at 500,000 up for everything. So it's just crazy. And
I
that's inexpensive for if you find it in the 500,000. They have come down and their incentives have gone up. They, where for a while, I don't know if you experienced this, but they weren't offering us as realtors any compensation for a
Yeah,
while,
no,
the builders, because they
they
didn't
don't
need
do it
us.
here.
Yeah, they didn't need us. I
Yeah.
just got an email now. They're like, please come buy one now, like 5%, like
Really?
5% if they get them to buy one between now and October 31st. I was like, what?
Wow.
That's crazy. So
Yeah, we've never had builders in my area, really cooperate that much with buyers, brokers. They will maybe offer 2% at the most, sometimes 1.5, sometimes it's $4,000. It's just not like I have a friend who works in like the Nashville area. And it's like every time she sells new construction, she gets 3% on the buy side. And it's
yeah,
just never really been that way here. And our market hasn't changed that much. I mean, like I said, some houses will sit, depending on the condition and the price. But in general, where I am, things that are priced well and show well are still going pretty fast. This proud liberal says, you must be living right here. He said, federal government workers and government contractors and Amazon keep the housing market stable in the DMV area. I think, yeah, there's a lot of jobs here. You've got the federal government, we've got the World Bank, we've got everything in DC, we've got so much, job opportunity here. Plus, the DMV is 3 jurisdictions. We got Montgomery, we've got Maryland, part of Maryland, DC, and Northern Virginia. So between all those, like we all go in each other's areas. I have
plus
one
you have,
doctor in Virginia, one in DC, one in Maryland. It's all kind of one area.
and you have some really good universities there that are Ivy League, right? Like really, really good universities there, right? So you have a lot of those people. So you have a lot of, I think you probably also have people with money that buy maybe the homes for the students, right? The parents that can afford to buy a townhouse or a condo for the kids up there as well. Is that a factor that,
I mean, not really, like not right in the DMV. You've got Johns Hopkins, which is in Baltimore. You have University of Maryland in College Park, but that's still not the DMV.
gotcha.
Virginia's got a lot of great schools, but that's not so much of a factor. I think it's more like we have the National Institute of Health, NIH. We have Walter Reed. We have the whole government. I mean, it's just like
You got,
now we have
yeah,
Amazon
very
moving
cool.
here. It's not so, in my experience, not so much about the universities as these other jobs that
Gotcha.
the viewer had mentioned.
And that's the problem Florida has. We really need the high tech jobs. We need, like the tourism jobs just don't bring in the people that are making the money to make accept an upper management to afford living here. So we really need those type of high tech jobs or some kind of jobs, to come down here. I know we did just, Vandy's opening up a second, they're opening a location here, a campus in West Palm Beach. That's a pretty big thing, having Vanderbilt Hill, but still they need the jobs, the tech jobs, the bioscience. I think they need those high paying jobs to bring people to Florida to help with the cost of living here.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I keep hoping to see them do.
So are you seeing, like, I have something here that says, according to Redfin in West Palm Beach, pending home sales nosedived almost 18%, the greatest decline experienced in any of the 50 most populous metropolitan areas. Tampa saw pending home sales drop 15.5%, and in Miami, pending home sales fell close to 15%. And this is happening even as condo prices are falling in some of these markets. Buyers are walking away because the cost of owning a home has become too risky and too expensive. So we've talked about this already, how houses are staying on the market longer, and I'm assuming that translates into, lesser sales. But are prices coming down as well? Are you seeing that at the same time?
Yeah, you're seeing a lot of price drops. I think people are realizing that you've seen some of the homes that are sitting out there on the market. We're seeing them expire because they still think that they can get what they, you know, what happened 2 years
Right.
ago. It's
Yeah.
not happening. The buyers aren't going to do it. They have enough people telling them not to. They see the same stuff that you and I read in the news, so they're not. And so you're seeing a lot of price reductions. And if they price it right, which has always been the real estate rule, if
Right.
they price it right based on other homes that have sold, then they will get the offers. But if they're not, and they're still trying for these pipe dream numbers that were what we were all seeing in 2021, it's just going to sit. And so you go through and I went through the other day and was just looking, and it's everything from a $65 million property down to the $200,000. I mean, if they're just not priced right and whatever, we're seeing them expire, and
Right.
that number just keeps increasing.
Are you seeing multiple offers still or no?
No, not I haven't. I know some people have. I haven't seen a multiple offer in quite a while.
Wow. Yeah, when I was talking to that the agent from Tallahassee, and I was telling her, I'm like, yeah, we're still seeing multiple offers. Literally yesterday at our meeting, one of my colleagues got 6 offers, 10% over asking. I think it was a $600,000 home, went for 660. And this is now, so we're still trying to like navigate this mixed market. So when people come into my market, when I meet them from YouTube or just anybody coming in from out of state, and they're like, well, what's happening? I'm like, it just depends on the house. Like, I can't even tell you exactly because it's so house specific, here. But we are definitely still seeing multiple offers, escalating prices, no contingencies, all that stuff we're still seeing here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't. Again, like you said, there's always a house. There's someone that may have a really nice house. There's certain pockets here, like Boca. Boca is known for the schools. A lot of people live in Boca that you'll see certain homes. They'll still go for a good price. But even in some of the popular neighborhoods there, I'm working with a client, and we were looking in there, and we were looking, and she's like, "Yeah, they're asking way too much," like that. And it's like, we'll wait it out." And it's like, and the property's still sitting, and it did price drop. So
Yeah.
where before this particular neighborhood, you would have jumped all over it because it's East Boca, fairly close to the beaches, no HOA, nice homes, mid-century modern homes. A lot of them have been renovated,
Oh, it
and
sounds nice.
they're kind of sitting. And
So that
like I said,
you do have homes that aren't in an HOA. Not
oh yeah,
every.
yeah, this is one of my favorite neighborhoods down there. And and I have one that we had a second showing on today, which is near one of our hospitals, right near Bethesda Hospital, and it's a nice neighborhood, and it has no HOA. So they're far and few between, especially in Palm Beach County. But there are some neighbors, and those tend to be my favorite neighborhoods because they tend to be the more older Florida homes. And my favorite style homes, those homes that were built in the 50s, the
Mhm.
60s, except for the plumbing that you have to deal with, the plumbing
Right.
issue, because you're either going to have to get it filled and refitted or changed out, which can be very expensive. But they're beautiful homes, and they're well built, and they have good airflow because they were built before AC was here. Remember, we didn't have AC down here until the 60s, maybe the 70s.
Oh my God.
So these homes were built for the airflow, so they have great airflow. So on a day like
Right.
today, when it's cooler, you can open the windows, and it just has a beautiful airflow in there. It's nice.
Wow. So yeah, I don't think I would. I mean, I don't live in an HOA. I've done videos like you have. I mean, yours kind of went crazy. Mine not as much. But
People
I
don't
just
like
like,
them.
yeah, the more research I do on HOAs, and like a lot of them are fine. Don't get me wrong, a lot of HOAs are fine. Don't come
Yeah.
after me, HOA people. We got one in all the neighborhoods I sell in, and I kind of know if they're fine or not. They have a reputation if they're not, if they're easy or if they're not. But it sounds like where you are, there's a lot of them that have issues or they're too expensive or just a lot of things run wild. Is that a fair assessment?
I think the video that I did just hit a nerve with the people who don't like HOAs. And a lot of people, look, there's always going to be those buyers who buy in and they want to change the rules. And I always tell people, look, guys, this property has an HOA, so understand this: these rules are set in place. No matter how much screaming and yelling you do, they're not going to change their rules for one person. So if you don't like these rules, please read them before we submit a contract, because the likelihood that you're going to be able to change them isn't very much in your favor. So I
Do you
always
have a
tell
review period like in the contract?
you on condos, yes. On HOAs, it's just part of your inspection period. So if you have
Oh,
7 days
wow.
to inspect, you have 7 days to do everything. So you got 7 days to review those docs and look at them. So I always tell people, look at it, find out, and then go ask the neighbors. You'll get an earful from neighbors.
Right,
That could be good or bad for you and I as a realtor. That could kill a deal. Some neighbors are crazy, but
I tell people
I
the
mean,
same thing though. I
yeah,
do.
but you need to know those rules. But there's some listen, HOAs, I live in one, they do serve a purpose. You know, sometimes they nitpick, but they also don't allow 6 cars in the parking lot and in the grass, ruining the neighborhood. They don't allow, I don't care about pickup trucks. I'm one of those guys that grew up in Texas. I don't think pickup trucks do any harm to anybody unless it's like a huge pickup truck and it doesn't fit the driveway and something. But again, if it's not on the street property and it's on your driveway, what do you care, right? So, but some people are anti-trucks, definitely anti-commercial vehicles. They don't like anything that and stuff. So, but they do, you know, they take care of that. Look, the cable's cheap. I walked through Costco today. The guy's like, "Hey, well, I said, no, I get cables free. It's part of my HOA. It's paid for." Oh, yeah, you got nothing you can come at me with that. It's free. There's nothing you can offer me that's better. Sorry, buddy. So, you know, there's some benefits to it, and they take care of the pool and the lakes and stuff. But then some of them are smaller and they are ran poorly, and that's the problem. And some of them were mismanaging the money, and that's what I talked about. How some of them were really giving friends, "Hey, come fix this, and we'll pay you for it," instead of finding a legitimate contractor. And that's where I think a lot of
Jimmy
people
says, "I'm trying to improve my townhouse, buying new windows, and my contractor is like, I've dealt with that HOA before. They are difficult. Damn, what a bunch of hoops I have to jump through."
Yeah, they can tell you you have to have the right roof. You can't just get any tile. Some of the tile has to match. So there's a lot of the 55 and older properties that I sell in, and they're replacing the roof, and it had to be a specific roof, and the tiles had to match. So you can't just get, you know, any roofer.
Yeah,
So,
but I'm saying if the HOA already has a bad enough reputation that contractors know, and so they don't want to do the work in there.
Well, that's what I mean. That's why we knew, because the contractor, like, yeah, that place is.
Oh, right, gotcha.
We have to do a certain tile. We don't want to work with them. It's like,
you know, people probably want me to look in this map again. All right, I'm going to try it again. We got Massachusetts and South Carolina. I'm going to try. Do you want inventory? Or do you want prices? Probably prices. But this didn't work out so well last time. But let me see if.
Sounds like a waterfront area. Murrells Inlet, South Carolina.
Okay, so we're still on Georgia here. So South Carolina, you know, I'm going to have to. I can't see the shapes of the maps.
Yeah, you can't.
Here's North Carolina.
North. You're close.
Right, here's South Carolina, Myrtle Beach, Murrells Inlet. Where is that? Is that near Myrtle? Oh, just south of Myrtle Beach. Okay. Wait, was that it?
So the northeast South Carolina coast.
So south of Myrtle Beach, northeast, south. But that's where I am. How about Georgetown? Is it near Georgetown? So this doesn't have like see, it's only where the dots are. So I think the closest I'm going to get on this map is probably Myrtle Beach. But I will tell you for Myrtle Beach, this is prices. So the prices, wow, in 1 year, it's only gone down 0.2%. But in 5 years, up 57.3%. That's crazy. Since the shift in the 2022 peak, 0.4%.
Wow.
Look at that drastic change. And the active inventory is 7,042. I bet the inventory is probably similar if it's 0.2%, maybe a little bit more than pre-pandemic.
Interesting.
Let me see if I can see what the inventory is. It says Myrtle Beach. You know, when I had this idea in my head, it was a lot easier to navigate.
Well, they take major. I think it has major cities, right? It doesn't have.
Yeah. All right. So let's go back. So this is where we were. So
me trying to find Boynton Beach where I'm at. It probably isn't going to show up. Matter of fact, you couldn't even find it. You found Miami, but
right. Yeah. No, I couldn't. So here's the
not my market.
inventory for Myrtle Beach again. So 2019 inventory is 6,879. And I was right. It's slightly over 7,042. So this is a really, he's great at data, Lance Lambert. So it's a really, if you can find your area, sorry. But if the area is on here, you can really tell how inventory, like I said, apart from a pandemic, because obviously that threw everything out the window, which is what happened in all of our markets. But if you just look at inventory pre-pandemic and now, as far as prices, it's a really good indication of what the future is going to hold if the inventory doesn't go up more. All right, I hope that was helpful, Robert. If not, just put it in the comments and I'll try to find better data. It's not easy trying to find it on the map with just so many dots on it, you know? And we had another one in West Springfield, Massachusetts. Should I try one more time? Let me see. All right, this is the last time. Let's go to the prices. All right, West Springfield, Massachusetts. We're in Maine. Here's Boston. Is it near there? West Springfield? Worcester? Springfield. Oh, I found one.
You found it.
Yay. I'm so happy. I will never find it again. Okay, here's home prices. So year-over-year change is up 6%, shift since the local 22 peak, up still 10.9%. 5-year change up 50.2%.
Wow.
That is crazy. And it's still going up. So you're doing well, Springfield, Massachusetts.
That's crazy.
I'm just so happy I found it. Anyway, it's very stressful trying to find these data. But he is great. And you have to be a member of Resi Club to get access to the data and these interactive maps. So if you are watching this on the replay and you want me to look it up for you without being pressured, I will do that. And you just put your location in the comments and I will look on the map and see if the inventory and home prices are there for your area, if it's there. But Paul, I really want to thank you for coming on. I know that Florida's having a hard time. I do want to say that I looked up some charities to donate to Florida after the hurricane. The one that I found that seemed to be the most popular was the Florida Disaster Fund. I don't know if you know of any, apart from the Red Cross, the America Cares, Salvation Army.
Actually, I have one that if I can send you the link, and if you want to add it to this for the replay of the video.
Sure.
Our brokerage, we're doing one and we're sending everything to the Red Cross. It's an Amazon type thing. So if they can go on and buy the supplies needed and all of it's going there. So
that would be great. Yeah. Send me the link and I'll put it I'll put a pinned comments in the video for that, because when I did a live stream and we were talking about North Carolina, there was a charity that I knew that people really love. It was called Beloved Asheville, and I don't remember off the top of my head, but it was one that I'd already researched, and I knew that the money was going straight to help people in Asheville. So if you have one that you really like for Florida, I'd be happy to put that in the pinned comments, because I just feel so bad for me. We're talking about the housing market and we're talking home prices and insurance costs and everything. But some people really lost their homes.
Yeah, it's sad. And we go to the Carolinas a lot. So we have friends that were, thank God they're safe, but they were stuck on the mountain for a week with no power, 2 weeks. It took forever, but they were safe and no loss of life, but very horrible what happened and everything. So, and I was going to ask you if I could answer this.
Yeah, apparently there's a question for you there, Paul. Go for it.
Just hey, every dog has their day. That was your day. We'll see how the rest of the season goes. I know we're 4-2 as far as the games between Georgia, so we still lead the series with you guys. But well played. You Texas was not prepared, and you guys just showed up to play, and we didn't. So, but hook 'em horns. We'll see how we finish up the season. We're proud to be part of the SEC. A little football talk there. So
I went to University of Michigan, so I was all about football last year. This year, no, we'll see.
Yeah, you guys were great, but you taking a little on chin. But yeah, that's the Carolinas was hard to watch, and it's hard to see Florida. We talk about all this stuff and everything, but it's hard to see people's lives affected like that. And even here in my county, the tornadoes, I mean, we had loss of life. So it's scary and it's sad. And so I appreciate that. Yeah, I will send you that. And all we can do is
you guys lose power? Did you lose power?
We were very fortunate, honestly. I knock on wood, whatever, thank God in all my years of living here, we've only had one window break at one of our properties. We've been very blessed. No car damage, no, nothing. But I mean, I've driven around. I've seen it. I went over to Fort Myers after about 2 weeks. I didn't want to be there like a vulture right after, but I did go there for donating my time and donating supplies.
Oh, that's nice.
And then I did a video. And when you see a boat lifted up and thrown like a toy, a huge yacht, and just sitting on top of other boats, it's like, wow, that was someone's dream. And then of course people's homes and lives lost. So yeah, it's sad to see it, and it's Mother Nature, and it is part of living here. And like you said, you lived in California. Look, disasters happen everywhere, so you just, you know,
We
it's
have
part of,
different disasters here in the DC area. They're
yeah.
they're they're going to come up in a couple of weeks, one way or the other, but there's just all kinds of craziness that's going on around here, just not weather related.
Well, I hope you get some cool weather, because I know you guys are waiting for it up there. And then if you get cool weather, we get like a little bit of cool weather, like
Right.
not like, so when you're putting on your next video and you got your jacket on, it's like,
I do.
yeah,
I love the fall. The
I,
fall
I
better
do
even than
too.
spring. I love the fall. I just love like when the leaves start changing and you can make the fire, have some hot cocoa. I mean, it's just like that's one of the things I really miss when I lived in California for 9 years, and one of the things I
Yeah.
was so looking forward to in moving back here. And I've been back for 18 years. I also grew up here, so
Oh,
I've
cool.
yeah,
We're
I
back
know the
home.
DC area really well.
Yeah,
But I
it's
really want to thank you for coming on. It's been a lot of fun. I do hope to you come on again. I love watching
absolutely.
your videos. Paul, tell them what your channel is so people can find you.
Yeah, so my channel is called Palm Beaches Paul, and you can find that on YouTube. And it's like Palm Beach Paul, but it's got an ES. It's Palm Beaches because that's the county I live in, Palm Beach County. But go to Palm Beaches Paul, and you can watch my videos there. And I talk about the good and the bad of living here in Florida. I don't sugarcoat it. It's not perfect, but it's still paradise to me. And please watch the video. I appreciate it. And thank you so much for letting me be a guest on
Yeah,
your channel. I love
you're
it. I knew you
welcome.
and I were talking before. It's been fun. I love doing these, and I will have you on. I'm going to do my live streams. I'm going to start doing them. So you got to promise to come on my channel, and we'll talk. We'll kick it back again.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna start drinking though. I might start this like wine Wednesdays because I get so nervous doing these lives. So you made it really easy. I just
Thank
started
you.
doing them, and I really appreciate you coming on. And thanks you all if you're watching this live. We had a good turnout tonight. And if you're
Yeah.
watching the replay, we appreciate that as well. All right, see you later. Bye.